Hey everyone, it's Will, GamerDad, with another video for you. So it looks like they fixed the boss rush. So for all of us who just updated, you can actually fight them all in a row now. You do have 3 keys, and you also have the one you started with for a total of 4 fights. And keep in mind that you should look at the details and make sure you can win all the win conditions in order to get the maximum rewards. Now, out of the 4 I've done so far, 2 do give chance scripts, other ones give badges, and of course, all of them give Chronos Stones as well. Also, make sure you check the details because they do give you some hints as to what kind of teams to bring and what kind of attacks to use as well. Normally, being that these are pretty easy to start, there's difficulties 1 to 3 so far. Of course, the later stages will have more DPS, more debuffing required. However, in the first few stages, you really don't need too much power. However, so for the sake of the shortness of the video, I actually did not show the Grasta setup until the stage 4. So hopefully that's okay. You can estimate from the amount of damage I'm doing what kind of DPS you require for the bosses. So in this case, they do warn you about the boss on the first turn. And so to shorten the bosses fights, I would recommend if you have multi-stage fights and you have access to zones, you can certainly do a bar either on the more difficult parts of the stage. And remember, once you use a key or whatever those pulses, which are given to you, I believe, I think it's 6 in every 1 day, and so it should come at reset. You can use them as you please, and once you have unlocked it, you get a whole 6 hours to kind of use those keys and kind of refight the fight continuously. So in this case, I unlocked all 4, and I'm going back a second time to kind of demonstrate for you. I didn't want to show the first fight only because, again, I was experimenting and bringing the teams. Hopefully you can learn something from the moveset and the enemies' moves as well. Some of them actually already have HP stoppers, so keep that in mind as well. In this case, we have a blunt team, and the win condition also requires you to have Amy and Rika. Now, keep in mind that you can technically keep them in the back and just use, whatever other DPS you'd like. In the case of different weaknesses, for example, Galliard would be weak to wind, so Felmina will work really well here. We have Dewey, of course, increasing the crit damage for your entire team, for 5th anyways. And we do have Yifa as a 4.5, establishing blunt zone, although I don't know if you need blunt zone for this particular fight. With Felmina, especially if you did pull her on the blunt zone banner, which is actually active right now. See, there's your HP stopper at 50%. You do have to get her manifest to unlock all her abilities and make sure you do tons of damage with her. You set up with Licorice Blossom and then try Cataclysm. When the boss fights are a little bit shorter, you might not even use the setup move to increase your damage. And note that you can't die. So my very first try, if you bring the wrong team or you bring a subpar team or you just kind of take it too easy, you may actually get knocked out or KO'd. Some of these fights also have a limit on how many turns you need, so you do have to have enough DPS. Now, in the case of this one, being that all of these are kind of in the fire zone or Rattly or whatnot, you could actually bring an all-water team. In this case, I chose a wind team just because it suggested wind, just for the sake of showing you something a little bit different. However, feel free to bring your water or water pierce team. Again, the pierce banner right now has a lot of water pierce units. I'm sure you could do very, very well there. Or any water zone unit teams such as AS Yuna, AS Annabelle, all of those will be fine. And again, if you can't beat it right now, especially if you're relatively early or new to the game, don't worry, this content is there forever. Those rewards will always be there for you. And bear in mind, once you receive the rewards once, it's not like you can get them again. Like once you get the chance score for Denzel, you can't get it even if you do this boss fight again tomorrow. And again, it does give you a hint as to how many stages the boss has. And so in the case where they do have more than one enemy, you do have the option of using your AF bar. Keep in mind that I also have the foresight of knowing which wave it is. And if you do have zone, you can actually recharge your half bar AF pretty quickly. And so in the case of multi-stage attacks, Melissa's 1 turn flash strike stance is not nearly as effective, although you can still use it. You can see there again, 50% HP stopper, and it activated something else. Still not truly a challenge. Note that I haven't even used any debuffs like some of the more difficult content in the game. You can see that the boss doesn't have anything more than a couple of million HP. So much easier than even some Manifest fights. The only real challenge is making sure you have a right tailored team. If you are taking damage, you can still use debuffs, shielding, healing, and so on and so forth. And if you have a zone setting unit, that will help protect you from a lot of damage. In the case of fire, if you use, I guess, water against it, you'll probably have some shielding naturally with a water zone, or obviously if you use other weapon type zones, that will help protect you as well. I also realized that you can get even faster and kill off the enemies more quickly, because if you do kill them all 4 stages very quickly, you can actually earn a ton of XP and keep someone weaker in the back and level them up that way for Manifest as well. Okay, so in the final boss fight here, we have stage 4, and this one requires an Earth team. It also requires an all-light team. So for example, AS Tuva won't be useful here. Deidre, for example, one of our best free-to-play units, is also not available, and so on and so forth. So I decided to go with an all-light team. You can see we want to do it once, and Violet is an excellent choice. Her once more attack, remember that all P5 units, they will do an extra attack or double the number of attacks if they're weak against it. So this enemy is weak to Earth. Keep in mind, they also mentioned the stages. You have 1 Cyrus, then splits into 2, then splits into 5. So you can easily get very overwhelmed if you do let all the 5 Cyruses hit you. And keep in mind that even though this is still early in the boss stage, where it's only like a stage 4 kind of thing, it can end you if you are not very careful. So we have Mayufa here for the end of turn heal, of course, and also Earth Zone is active. Keep in mind that Myra's AS has a really nice AoE, and so if you are fighting bosses or waves that have multi-units, you do have to bring at least 1 or more AoE type attacks. Also, keep your bar for the 3rd stage here. You can bar right here, and either use multiple sword dances, or in the case of just setting up with Earth Spiral, you can easily do 1 AoE with Transform Claw and ends it right there. So hopefully this video does show you kind of what to expect, and as more content gets released and I have more keys to do, hopefully I can put up some extra videos for you as well. Now in this case, being that this was a slightly harder fight, I will show my loadout in this stage, and moving forward after stage 4 I will start showing all my loadouts. If you have any particular questions about the setup for the first 3, feel free to leave some comments below and I'll try to answer them the best that I can. In other notes, good luck on your boss fights. Again, don't be too discouraged if you are having trouble with it. We're all at different points in the game, and this content, like I said, is there forever, so don't have to worry about that. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.